You talk
but
about
I can tell you what,
these people.
Russia has never had a president that they respect so much, but more importantly, or less importantly, I guess, I went into Russia and people said, oh, he likes Putin and Putin likes him. Let me tell you, the first thing I did was terminated Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. It's a pipeline from Russia to Germany and all over Europe. I said, wait a minute, to NATO. I said, so let's get this straight. My first meeting, I said, so Putin's building the biggest pipeline in the world. He's going to Germany, but all over Europe. And you're paying him billions of dollars a year, billions of dollars a month. Germany's paying billions of dollars a month. And we're supposed to protect you against the guy that you're paying all this money to. So is there something wrong with my thinking? So he's building a pipeline to Germany, and we're spending, and by the way, until I got there, we were spending almost 100% for NATO because we had all these delinquent countries they weren't paying. When I got there, I said, you know what? And by the way, my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, just leaving, Secretary General of NATO. He said when Bush came in, he made a speech and left. When Obama came in, he made a speech and left. When Trump came in, he made a speech and he said, let me see your books. And I found out in the books that nobody was paying. There were only 7 countries that were paying. We were supporting NATO. They screw us on trade so bad, the European nations. And then on top of that, they were screwing us on the military. So they're taking a tremendous advantage of us, $350 billion on trade. And we're then supporting them. In other words, it's not sustainable. You can't keep doing this. You can't have that, China, all of these countries. And stupid people made these deals. I saw trade deals that were so stupid that you'd have to be, that was so bad that you'd have to be an idiot to sign them. And we signed them for years. I could tell you trade deals that I have never seen anything. I said, who would agree to this? They had to be corrupt. They had to be corrupt. To make those deals, they had to be corrupt because there is no way a rational human being, I always say either corrupt or extremely stupid, because there's no way a rational human being would ever sign the trade deals that this country signed. And I got out of many of those deals. I told South Korea, I'm sorry, you're going to have to pay for your military. We have 40,000 troops over there. You're going to have to pay. You become a very wealthy country. Just to finish, you become a very wealthy. They said, no, we will not pay. We will not. We haven't paid since the Korean War. I said, no, you got to pay. I said, would $5 billion a year to start off with? No, they went crazy. They agreed to 2. I got $2 billion for nothing. And I said, here's what we're going to do. They said, we can't agree to this because we have to go through Parliament. They have the Parliament or whatever their legislature is. I said, that's okay. I fully understand that. Make it $2 billion. But next year I'm going to talk to you again. And I was going to make it $5 billion. And they knew it was coming. The happiest people to see that it was Biden instead of Trump with them, South Korea. You know what they did? They cut off the deal that I made where they were paying us. They backed to nothing because they went back to Biden and they gave it to him for nothing. They were willing to pay. We have 40,000 troops in harm's way. Very serious because you have North Korea is a very serious power. They have tremendous nuclear power. And I said to South Korea, you got to pay. And they agreed to do it. And Biden then cut it back, and it's a shame. And I could tell you 50 deals. And if I were there now, they'd be paying us $10 billion a year. And you know what? They'd be happy to do it. It's a money machine, South Korea. You're going to mention Taiwan. You wanted to mention Taiwan.
You mentioned Taiwan. You said you would defend them. You also seemed to imply that Putin, you would not. Putin, you seemed to imply that you had talked to him without actually confirming.
I said I don't comment on those things.
What about? Can I ask you a particular thing about the dollar? You talked about wars at the New York Economic Club. You said that if you lost the dollar as a reserve currency, it would be like America losing a war.
Yeah.
You look at what you're going to do in terms of protectionism, drive countries to use the other currencies, and all that debt is also going to lessen the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency.
If I'm elected, the dollar is so secure, your reserve currency is the strongest it'll ever be. And
You
no
say
country.
that, you say that to President Trump. At the moment, there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt, they're going to drive up inflation, so they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years no inflation. I had 4 years no inflation.
But that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green New Scam. The Green New Scam, the Green New Deal. You know, it was conceived of by AOC plus 3. She never even studied the environment in college. She went to a nice college. She came out, she just said, the Green New Scam. She just named all these things.
President Trump, the issue at the markets are looking at the fact you are making all these promises. Latest one was car loans. You're flooding the thing with giving giveaways.
But we're going to grow.
I was actually quite kind to you. I used 7 trillion. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization,
yeah, but you don't know.
They have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong.
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong.
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people.
But you're wrong. You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff. You've been wrong. Now, let me tell you about currency. You're going to jump in a lot of different subjects.
The
reserve currency. Let's
stick
to reserve currency. That's where you started, right? The reserve currency is under threat because you have Iran, you have Russia, you want to have the yuan be the thing of power. So here's what I'm doing. Again, I hate to go back to it. If somebody says, and I know countries want to get out because they don't respect our leadership, they look at this guy, they say, you got to be kidding. And she's worse than him. By the way, I never thought I'd say this. She is not as smart as Biden, if you can believe it. This is not what, we had 4 years of this lunacy, and we can't have it anymore. We're not going to have a country left. Okay, currency, very important.
Yes.
And if you want to go to third world status, lose your reserve currency. We have to have that. We cannot lose it. If you'll go to third world status in this country because you take a look at the way things are running. If a country tells me, sir, we like you very much, but we're going to no longer adhere to being in the reserve currency. We're not going to salute the dollar anymore. I'll say that's okay. And you're going to pay a 100% tariff on everything you sell into the United States. And we love your product. I hope you sell a lot of it into the United States, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. He will then follow it up by saying, sir, it would be an honor to stay with the reserve currency. That will be like just playing. That's not even chess, that's checkers. But you don't have listen to this. You don't have other people that can talk that way. You know, a lot of people say, we love Trump's policy, but we would like to have another messenger because we don't like him. He's a little bit crass. And then, actually, it was Lindsey Graham, I must say. He was a progressive, in all fairness. But Lindsey Graham said, but Trump's policy doesn't work without Trump. And there's a lot of truth to that. Macron was going to, nice guy, Emmanuel. He's a wise guy, but he's for France, and we're for the USA. You know this story. He was going to tax American companies doing business in France, a very substantial tax. And I told my people, I didn't even like the companies, but I'm representing American companies. And this guy, so I said, call Macron and call his people and say, we're not going to stand for that. And I got Mnuchin and, a lot of guys, smart guys, if I can finish. Yeah. I'll go longer if you want. If it helps, because you got to be able to finish. You move too quick. No, you got to be able to finish a thought because it's very important. This is big stuff we're talking about. You can't go that quickly.
You've gone from the dollar to
So let me just tell you. So I said, no, I'm just telling you basic, it's called the weave. It's all these different things happening. Yeah. So let me just say, so I said to Mnuchin, call him up and say, no way. He did, and he came back to see me. He said, they won't do it, sir. It's too late. I said to somebody else, you call him. Then I said, let me do it. And I called him. And I said, Emmanuel, you're taxing American companies very substantially. You're not doing it with other companies. You must think we're stupid. It's not going to happen. But Donald, I cannot do anything. It's too late. Or it was approved by a legislature. I said, that's okay. Here's the story. Every bottle of wine and champagne that you send into the United States, effective immediately, and I'm signing it as I speak, I'm charging you 100% on every bottle of wine and champagne. You know, they like the wine and champagne, right? Every bottle of wine and champagne that comes into the United States of America has a tax on, starting on Monday morning, this was a Friday, of 100%. And that's better than you're doing, okay? And he said, no, you cannot do that. I said, I've done it. It's already signed. Monday morning goes, may I call you back? Yes, he calls me back in about 3 minutes. We have decided to remove the tax from the conference. I did this all day long, but you don't have. You think Biden does that? I don't think so.
Let me ask you.